Hello and welcome to Roundtable, the NPFL's official podcast leading into each event. My name is Ken Duke. I'm your host, and for the next hour or so, we're going to be talking about the NPFL Championship 2026 that's coming up on Lewis Smith Lake in Alabama. It's going to be a barn burner, folks. And you know, if you missed the first two episodes of Roundtable leading into this event, I talked about the legendary fishery that Lewis Smith Lake is and the spotted bass history and the genetics here. And then we talked about the field of anglers coming here. And I think there's a third important element of any bass tournament that you can never pay enough attention to. And that is the conditions. The conditions are always a challenge. They're always a limiting factor. And on tonight's episode of Roundtable, I do want to talk about the conditions because that is ultimately what decides the winners and losers in any bass tournament. I think the conditions, their ability to game plan for them, their ability to adapt as they change. And I think those are always the things that make a winner and separate the top level guys from the guys who are not quite there. And the weather pattern leading into this championship tournament has been mostly warm with highs in the upper 60s and even into the mid 70s. Lows only into the 50s and 60s, but that changes. That changes as we come into the event, beginning on perhaps as early as Saturday, but perhaps a little later. A front's going to come in and it's going to drop those temperatures pretty dramatically. During practice, Sunday through Tuesday, the highs are going to be in the 50s and even lower. And the lows on a couple of those days are apt to be below freezing. And that's a big difference from those highs in the 60s and 70s that this body of water experienced last week. For competition, they're predicting rain. I'm a little bit early here, and so things can certainly change, but they're predicting rain on Thursday, which is the first day of competition, but they're also predicting a warming trend. They're predicting highs back in the 60s again, and a warming trend that may bring those fish up shallower, may make them a little more likely to bite, may improve the fishing. The water level is pretty steady. It's about 5.5 feet low right now, but it may be rising as we get into the tournament competition days because we're going to have some rainfall. And the water temperatures that would have been creeping up into the 60s and perhaps driving a move to spawn, that's probably been knocked back, or it's going to be knocked back by this cold front. Probably not going to affect the water clarity too much because Smith Lake is one of the clearest and cleanest lakes in Alabama. But watercolor, you know, maybe if you go up into the creeks and tributaries, you might find some dirtier water. Sometimes that water is a little bit warmer. It's going to depend on the temperature of the rain. And you're certainly going to see guys in practice checking that out, checking out the water temperature, checking out the water color up in those tributaries. Can you win with just spotted bass on Smith Lake at this time of year? You know, Smith Lake has some of the biggest spotted bass in the country. There are a lot of big spots on this lake, fish weighing 5 pounds and better. But I think most guys are predicting that you're going to need at least one largemouth, probably per day, to make the difference and give you the big check. Can anybody bring 15 largemouths to the scale each day and blow this thing out of the park? Well, obviously we're not going to find that out until the tournament starts to develop, but that's a question a lot of guys are going to be looking into. What is it going to take to win? You know, with the cold front coming in, that may drive weights down. It might only take 44, 45 pounds to win. If the weather is warming and things are good, it could take 50 or even 55 pounds to win. And this warming trend could be a boon to these anglers. What's going to be the key structure and cover out there? You know, rocks always play at Smith Lake in Alabama. Points always play at Smith Lake in Alabama. But what about the creeks? What about the boat docks, especially for the guys who are chasing largemouths? And what are the key baits? You know, I have a lot of experts telling me that at Smith Lake, because of the introduction of blueback herring, it becomes all about the herring. But how is that going to play out this week? Stick around. I'll have my guests on in just a moment, and we'll get a lot of those questions answered, or at least speculated on. I am excited about our next guest, not just because he's a great fisherman and he's qualified for the 2026 NPFL Championship, but because he is a big piece of bass fishing history. Scott Suggs was the first angler to win a $1 million prize in a bass tournament. He's qualified for Bassmaster Classics and Forest Wood Cups, and now he's qualified for the NPFL Championship. In 2025, folks, this man limited every day of the season. Scott, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thank you. Hey, that you talk about championships, that just catching limits every single day of competition is kind of ranked right up there with a championship win.
Well, that's huge, and I think it's so impressive. Until 2025, no angler had done it, and then last year suddenly, and it has a lot to do with the schedule, of course, but last year 15 anglers did it, and you're one of them. And all of you guys who did it made it to the championship. But it does have a lot to do with the schedule, but it also says a lot about each of you guys who did it and your versatility and your ability to prevail even when conditions are tough.
Yeah, it was an interesting year, and there were a couple of times there that I would get to thinking, it had been brought up through the season that it had never been done before, and I don't know, I got to kind of putting that ahead of other things. I wanted to do it. I mean, it kind of like it kicked me in the rear end to, hey, catch them. So it was a fun year.
Oh, when you guys got to Eufaula in Oklahoma last year, I said, okay, here's where some guys are going to fall off this wagon real quick.
Uh-huh.
But of course, the fact that tournament was shortened made it a little better. But still, guys like you prevailed, and that's what's so impressive to me. We talked about your season last year. You've qualified for Bassmaster Classics, a lot of Forest Wood Cups. You won $1 million. Now you're in the NPFL Championship. So welcome, sir, and congratulations on that.
Thank you. And that's the thing about it is every season we take off and we start, that's our finish line at the end of the season, where our goal is to cross that line to make it to a championship, let alone try to hope you win one of them, because it's tough enough winning, period, let alone a championship when you've got the best in the field out there. But I'm really looking forward to this championship. I love fishing for spotted bass. And I don't know. Hey, who knows what might happen? This would be interesting. If someone could come away with a win at this tournament, it would be a major, major notch in my belt that it would mean the world. Really and truly, it would mean the world.
Well, now the prize money in this event is really good. It's $100,000, but obviously that's not as much as you won in 2007 when you took down the Forest Wood Cup and got all that Ranger money and got a check for $1 million. But you're a very young man at that time, and now in your 50s, would a win now mean a lot just because so much has happened in your career?
Let me tell you something. A win, anytime you get past the age of 45 to right around 50, with these young guys the way they are, they're so good, they're so talented, and just to get a win, I mean, it's one of the hardest things in the world. I never dreamed how hard it would really be, because I always thought when you're kind of set in your ways, you don't have to really. You get the best sponsors you can. You're probably at my stage right now in the last 15 years, probably been the best financially to be able to go out and fish comfortably with the great sponsors I have and everything that have supported me so hard. And you would think you would get better and better as time goes on, being able to relax. But these guys that are coming up that are fishing for hopes and dreams and maxing credit cards and all that, I mean, they're hungry, dude. They're just like I was when I started, and they're hungry as they can be. And it makes it hard. It just makes it really hard out there.
When you've won $1 million in a derby, is it a challenge to get yourself fired up even for a big tournament, or is that still easy?
No, it's still easy. I mean, it's still easy. The first year after that, always understood why Bassmaster Classic winners had the option to get back in. I mean, were qualified for the next season, because
Right.
when I won that year, I was so busy for the next 12 months. I couldn't even look up. I felt like I lived in an airport. And I really suffered. I see now why they automatically qualify, because my fishing suffered so bad the next season because I was just exhausted. But as that time has passed on, every year, it's like, I mean, if you don't feel like a little kid, I can go out right now and hook my boat up and know I'm fixing to go over to the lake right now and just go crappie fishing. And by the time I get to the ramp, I'm jittery and everything. And when you don't feel that anymore, when that goes away, stay at the house, go to the mall or something with your wife and walk around, because you don't have it. I mean, period.
I love that, because when I talk to a guy who's accomplished so much, like you, like a Rick Clunn or somebody like that, who you're going to be fishing against this year, by the way,
Right.
I always wonder where they find the fire, and you obviously have it. You haven't lost it. And that's wonderful. Now, at you're 59 years old. At 59, some things you have to do as a professional bass angler are harder, maybe physically. But what gets easier as you've become older? Anything?
The only thing that's really gotten easier as I become older is the simple fact that I just get up. I get up, I get in a routine. I'm now more, instead of trying to rig 25 rods for my boat so I can go to the lake and run crazy like I used to growing up. I've been around enough to kind of know, and I've been on enough of these lakes, the migration, what time of the year it is, what's going on, and all that. And it just seems like it's easier to be able to go to the lake now and just kind of fall right in, right where I want to be. It seems like, let's put it this way, it seems like practices, I don't waste near as much time.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you've got not just a pattern on the water that you're looking for, but the pattern in your routines. That makes a lot of sense.
Experience on the water for so many years, being on these different bodies of water, knowing what time of the year it is, knowing what the fish should be doing. It just, I don't know, it just seems like it falls together faster.
We used to say that when it came to fishing success, there was no substitute for time on the water. And I don't mean to turn this into a forward-facing conversation, but it seemed to me that forward-facing sonar suddenly became the great equalizer, and you no longer needed to have a lot of experience or time on the water. You could rely on that technology, and that would be a substitute for time on the water. Am I in the ballpark for that?
Just for what you just said. The Bass Open's going on at Sam Rayburn right now. Fisher that won last week or whatever in bass.
Yeah.
Zero practice. Shows up down there. First day of the tournament yesterday, 28 something. And I mean, he was able to go out there and, and I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. When I'm home, I forward face. I do. I do it mainly for crappie. I love forward facing. It's fun. It's not only does it, like I said, we're not trying to get in this conversation, but you learn so much.
Yeah.
What took me, what took Rick Clunn, what took Larry Nixon, all of us, all of these years to pick up on and learn that would set you apart. At one time, I felt like I was one of the best suspended bass fishermen in the country. And now I'm nothing, because forward facing just took all that. But these kids and all these upcomers are learning what took us our whole career. They're learning it in a week to 2 weeks if they spend much time with that thing. And so it's changing the sport. But that's another thing that's good about the sport and about the way we are. Yes, I forward face. Yes, it's on my boat. Yes, I love it, especially crappie fishing. But also we have the opportunity to still fish a league that does not permit it, no practice, no anything with it. we're still able to use our units. Let me tell you something. You talk about me catching the limits every day last year. Without my electronics, and they're Lowrance, but without my electronics, that wouldn't have happened. I mean, they saved my tail in a lot of situations. And but the forward facing part of it is, it's just like when the GPS come out. All these places that we lined up telephone poles or trees or mountaintops or whatever, and spent all this time idling and finding and figuring out, these guys had a bunch of newcomers, had it handed to them. Same way with forward facing, they're getting it handed to them. So we go through all these changes in fishing and everything, but yet I can come back to NPFL, fish old school. It's a place where we can all go fish old school and not have to worry about all that. And that's the beauty of this league and everything. And it's a barrel of fun again.
Well, we're glad you're enjoying it, and we're also glad you're having so much success. And we're heading into Smith Lake for the big championship, of course. And do you have a lot of experience on Smith Lake?
I have quite a bit. I've been on it a lot in my life. I've seen it. As a matter of fact, the very first time I ever fished it, I zeroed the first day of a bass, a bass.
A tour event back in the day or something?
Yeah, I mean, it was it was the top 100 or whatever. We were there, and I zeroed the first day, a beautiful sunny day. It was just gorgeous. We get a flood coming in that night. The lake comes up 10 feet overnight, and I catch the biggest stringer of the whole entire tournament. And hey, listen, I go out the third day of zero, and I finish 11th overall. So that'll tell you how tough it was. But no, I've had some experience there. I fished several FLWs there. I fished major league there. I fished bass there. And now I'm fixing to fish NPFL there. So this is one of the lakes that I fished all the leagues with. So
that's wonderful. And
yeah, that's going to be cool too.
Well, as we get into the Smith Lake conversation here, what is it about Arkansas and Missouri where I feel like a guy is born with a jig in his hand? And that's that's a big part of your legacy, and what you're known for is the jigs, the shaky head, stuff like that. What is it about the part of the world that you're from that makes everybody that is their go-to bait?
Well, when you live in the mountains, when you live in the hills and stuff, you've got deep, clear water, you've got rocks, and Smith's no exception to that. I mean, it's the same exact thing. So, and then when it comes to a spotted bass, that's kind of bred into all of us around here and everything. So, our like you say, our go-tos are a jig of some type, either a casting or a football, a finesse, or we've got a shaky head in our hand. And that's just how we're brought up. I mean, and the thing about it is, our dads brought us up this way, uncles, grandpas, everything, they brought us up this way. And once it gets in your blood, and once you get to doing it, and the quality it'll catch, it sure is hard to lean away from it.
Well, I believe in Arkansas, Missouri, you're also allowed to throw a jerk bait occasionally.
Oh yeah.
But those are seriously go-to. Now you got to like Smith Lake for that, because you're a master of those. You're a versatile angler, of course, but you're a master of those techniques. When you heard the championship was going to be on Smith Lake, did you just laugh right out loud? And
I didn't laugh, because I may not go down there and catch anything, but of all the places for February it could have went, yeah, I was pretty kind of jittery over it, because whether I catch them or not, I know it's going to be, the opportunity's going to be there. I've just got to get in there and make sure that I fish properly. I don't think there's going to be a ton of good bites. I mean, I think there is, but not a slugfest. And I think we're going to have to capitalize. We're going to fish clean down there. We are going to have some cold weather, especially in practice. It's going to, oh my gosh, it's going to turn winter time again. And then we turn right around, we fish the tournament, and we probably won't even take off in a jacket. So it's crazy how it's going to be.
It really is. Yeah, you got a cold front coming through on the first day of practice, and then as soon as practice ends and you have an off day, suddenly a warming trend kicks in. So it's going to be tough to know how much you can even trust practice, don't you think?
Oh yeah, it's going to be. But hey, Here's the deal about these tournaments, and it doesn't matter where you fish or what it is. Somebody will always figure it out.
That is the ultimate comment about bass tournaments. Yes, somebody's going to figure it out. Somebody's going to catch it. It always happens. Now, I want to get into some baits that were key for you and that you're working on because you're on the Epic Lures Pro staff. But first, I want to tell you something that maybe your travel partner Andrew Upshaw shared with you. But if he did, he shared it with you because I told him. You guys room and travel together, and you guys share some information on the water. I want to talk about how tight the finish between you and Andrew was. And maybe he already shared it with you, but you guys tied for AOI points last year with 1,237. Dead tie.
Yeah.
The first tiebreaker is total weight for the season.
Uh-huh.
You weighed in 232 pounds and 3 ounces. He weighed in 1 ounce more.
Yeah.
1 ounce. And that's the difference between his spot in the standings and your spot in the standings.
Yeah. Yeah. We were staying at Logan Martin together at that event. And so we were at the weigh-in. My wife's a master with numbers. She's an accountant. And she's so good. I mean, people for forever and ever call her at the end of the year. Where am I at in the standings? Where am I going to be? This and that. So Andrew comes over there and he goes, how'd we do? And Kim looks at him, she goes, you're in. You made it. Don't worry about it. You made it and everything. She says, as a matter of fact, y'all tied and everything. Well, I think you called him that night or whatever, and we were all staying together at Logan Martin, and he comes in there and he goes, hey, man, I'm sorry, but I kicked your butt. And I said, you did what? He said, yeah, I finished a spot ahead of you. And I said, how? And he said, by 1 ounce. I said,
1 ounce.
My gosh. I mean, but yeah, it was awesome. It was a fun deal. As long as he didn't knock me out, it was good.
Oh, of course, those kind of things happen where guys tie for points, and that it happens where a guy wins by 1 ounce or 2 when you go to the tiebreaker. But when it's travel partners, that's crazy.
Yeah. I wouldn't have it any other way. It was awesome.
Please tell him you're not going to let that happen again. Please tell me that.
I hope not. I hope I beat him by 1 ounce this time.
Yes. All due respect to Andrew Upshaw, who loves to give people a hard time. I want you to take him down in 2026.
Yeah, I may have to take care of him this week. He's we'll all be together this next week. So I'm really looking forward to it. We have a great group. It's me, Canterbury, and Upshaw, and
wow,
we have a good time.
All 3 qualify for the championship. You guys had a lot of impressive finishes. Of course, Scott Canterbury won 2 events.
Yeah.
In 2025, very impressive. So yeah, what a group. Now, do you all share information?
Oh yes. Now we do not share locations. We do not share, when you're in the afternoon, we're all sitting in 3 boats, sitting there side by side, and we're rigging and working on stuff and everything. Goes, hey man, I caught them on so-and-so today. They were in like 12 foot of water. And, this is what I was looking for. And that's as far as it goes. I mean, so you have to go put it together or whatever. But if anything's needed, if anybody needs a bait, anybody needs whatever, it's right there. It's available for you if someone has it. So it's a great relationship. We have a really good time, and looking forward to another year of it.
Now, does information sharing extend to a championship tournament like this, where maybe giving away a little too much can?
Yeah, we'll talk while we're at this one. Yeah, we'll talk.
Anyway, does the extent to which you guys will share for a championship tournament where everybody's really going just for that first place spot?
Yeah, I mean, we'll still give each other ideas because we all 3 want each other to do good. And so yeah, I don't expect this tournament to be any different than any of the rest of them.
Gotcha. It just seems like there's always such a different mindset when you're no longer worried about points.
Yeah, and that's another thing, though. I mean, we're just that kind of group. I don't see that being
issue.
Well, excellent. I'm glad you guys have had such success. I mean, 3 guys all make the championship, couple of big trophies. That's impressive.
Right.
Scott, I want to talk to you about. I know you're on the Epic Pro staff. I know you design a lot of stuff for those folks, and I know that either last year there was some key Epic baits for your success, and coming into this Smith Lake Championship, there's probably a couple of Epic baits that you think are going to be major players for you. I want to do a little show and tell, if you would.
Yeah, I mean the two of the main ones I'm going to talk about are we've already talked about, so that'll make it easy. But whenever, I mean, just like this next week, I'm gonna do as always. And last year this was a staple. It's always tied on my rod. Doesn't matter where I go. But a football jig is always tied on. It's an Epic football jig. It just we've got really some great, amazing colors in it now. I have, I don't know how many in my, packaged in my name now, just the skirts that you can buy individually, but there are a lot of really natural colors that, anywhere from PB&J all the way through just the natural greens and browns and all that, which we still do, black and blue and stuff like that. But the other one is a shaky head here that I designed with them. And what's so different about it is this hook right in here has a slight bend in it. So you can probably tell more this away, but what it does, it helps keep your bait. When you put your bait on, it keeps the bait on straight, but also with it bent back a little bit, it opens up this. So this whole gap right here is all for for better hook set. And 90% of the time with this shaky head, you drill them right through the nose. It's got a V-lock victory hook in it with the deep V in it that when you get them pinned, you've got them pinned. But this is a head I worked on and did with them, and that's another thing. It's always tied on. I always have it tied on. The other thing that about Epic is their tungsten. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's flipping weights, if it's drop shot weights, it doesn't really matter everything we do, we have to do, you have some kind of a weight tied on. We have flipping weights, we have worm weights, there's nothing that they do not have. And so every single tournament, everything you do in life when it comes to bass fishing, you have a rod or two with a Texas rig on or something on to do with some type of weight on it that you got to have. So every single event, I always have some type of tungsten weights on, rods. So those are basically the main things that I have tied on. We've got some great new stuff coming, and this is a deal that we work on all the time. We've improved, and it's coming new. Our new finesse jig. We've got a new casting jig coming. I mean, we're trying to perfect the family of everything that we do to make it the best that's on the market. And what it does for me, it helps me catch those 5 each day of every event.
And nobody does it better. Let's talk a little bit about that Scott Suggs shaky head. I know it comes in 3 sizes, 2 colors. Take us through the combo you throw it on, the rod reel line that you're mostly using with that particular approach.
I throw it on. I spool all my spinning rods. I spool them with 15-pound P-line, spin line, spin braid. And then I'm a little different than everybody. 100% fluorocarbons pretty just vanishes in water. So I throw 12-pound leader a lot. And on my shaky head, I throw a pretty heavy, stiff spinning rod, Baloo's, whenever I'm throwing a 1/4 ounce, when I'm fishing real deep. The deeper I go, the stiffer I want the rod. And then I'll lighten up. I use the custom light loose spinning reel. Then I back up, and when I'm throwing lighter jig head or shaky head, or I'm fishing shallower, I'll soften. As I come up, I kind of soften my rod a little bit. But when it comes to the very end of it, at the tail end of the day, whether I'm skipping a 1/8 ounce up way up under a boat dock with a finesse worm on it, I'm still throwing a spinning rod that's got some oomph to it. It's usually a signature series by Lew's, but I'm throwing some type of rod that I still want to be able to get that oomph and be able to control that fish.
You mentioned the leader, and what's your go-to leader length? And does it depend on water clarity and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, it depends on what I'm doing, because sometimes, even though you can tie the finest knots, and I tie a super fine knot, anytime you
FG
have
or
do what?
do you call it? Do you tie an FG or what are you tying?
I tie. I don't even really know what it's called. I just know the one that I tie is super, super small. But the shorter the leader, the more you can control when you're skipping under stuff. It's not catching in
Right.
So that has something to do with it. When I'm out in deep, clear water, just like we're going to be at Smith Lake this week, it'll be probably up to 15 foot. The
Oh, wow.
leader will be. Yeah.
Is that partly because you know you're going to be cutting back as the day
A
goes
lot
on?
of my leader length has to do with cutting back. These people can throw yellows and oranges and all these bright colors of braid and tie onto it and everything. I've done it. I've played with it. In clear water, I've tried all kinds of stuff, and I've caught them on 5-foot leaders before. I mean, I'm not that big of a leader guy because it's too far away from my bait. I'm not that big of lengthwise, but when I'm in a tournament, I know I want to spend my time fishing. I don't want to be having to sit down and tie a leader and do this. I'm around boat docks, I'm around cables and everything. I'm going to tie one about 15 to 20 foot long to start my day with, so I can snip as I go. If I need to snip 2 foot, I still got plenty of leader, and try to save as much time as I can possibly save.
Fishing a shaky head, what do you think is the biggest mistake that the average bass angler makes?
I think one of the biggest mistakes you make is too fast on the hook set, too quick.
Really? Okay.
Yes, I mean, a personal, especially pitching docks, will pitch you into a place. He'll pick up the second. I mean, you just jump the gun on him. I'd rather get him hooked and have the opportunity to try to get him out of there than I had to lose him, or to just flat miss one. And some people, I've seen it happen. I've had too many in the boat with me that jumped the gun on it. The second that, and a lot of that goes back, especially with the guys that's been in the boat with me when they first got to shaky head fishing and all that, because back in the day, we threw the grub, we threw the gray hair jig a lot winter fishing. And when you felt that peck, boy, you had to get him right then. And carrying over into the shaky head, you've got a little bigger profile of a bait, but plus it's in a weedless hookup and everything. And I don't know, that fish gets it. You can come back. Oh yeah, he's there. I mean, it's just like worm fishing. That's all it is. It's just like worm fishing with Texas rig worm on a bait caster. You don't jump the gun on him. Don't do it on a shaky head.
Great advice from a master. Hey, Scott, I can't thank you enough for your time here with us on Roundtable. Best of luck at the championship, sir. You're going to be a factor, I know. And glad to see you in a championship for yet another league. And you'd make a great champion for the NPFL.
Thank you very much. And I'm looking so forward to it. We're going to give it everything we got.
All right, folks. Let's hear it for Scott Suggs. He's been a great champion for other leagues, and maybe soon to be a great champion for the NPFL. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Hey guys, Randy Ernest with Chick-fil-A in Cullman here at the north location. Also have the south location in town. Really just love serving the community. I got into this just for the simple fact I love serving people and giving back. It's a great way to build young leaders, and obviously we love our outdoorsmen and support fishing, and all of our local high school teams, and even on the professional level we do some. So any ways we can support you guys, serve you guys, we'd love to see you.
Special treat for y'all watching Roundtable right now. I've got not one, but two guests, and they have actually quite a bit in common. The first thing they're going to have in common, you're going to recognize right away. Both these guys have won the NPFL Championship. And in fact, they're the only two people who have ever won an NPFL Championship. First, I'm going to bring on an outstanding angler, a wonderful personality, and a guy who's wearing the crown awfully well, Mr. Scott Hamrick, the current defending champion. Scott, welcome to Roundtable.
Man, that sounds good. I like that.
Well, you earned it. You deserve every accolade you can get because you went out there in October and knocked down what I thought was one of the toughest tournaments I've seen in a while. But before we go into that, we got to bring in a friend of yours who, as I said, is the other guy who's ever won an NPFL championship, and that is Mr. Brandon Perkins. Brandon, welcome to Roundtable.
Hey, glad to be here.
Excited to have you guys on for a lot of reasons. I've really become a fan of both of you, and it's been a joy to get to hang around with you guys a little bit at the events and so forth. And here we are again. We're closing in just a few days away from another NPFL championship. And you guys are the only two who've had the privilege and the good fortune and the skill to knock one down. Scott, you didn't get to hold on to the crown very long before you've got to defend. That's kind of different, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm the shortest reigning champion ever. Yeah.
Maybe that's just how confident we are that you're going to defend your championship with another win.
Well, it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It would be nice. And, I want to get into your win because, well, wow, you guys won that championship in two radically different ways. Brandon, you went out there and you removed all doubt about who was going to win the championship almost immediately. And that's the way you've done. For our folks who aren't aware of this, Brandon Perkins has the two largest margins of victory in NPFL history. And he has 3 of the 6 largest margins of victory in NPFL history. So, Brandon, what I've learned about you is if you're going to win, you're not just going to edge people out by a few ounces. You're going to kick them in the teeth.
That's right. That's my home run mentality. And I also strike out occasionally, but it works.
I've gotten to see that a little bit, even on some bodies of water where I thought, oh, Brandon Perkins he's going to be a threat. And then didn't work out. Scott, you came from behind in an incredibly dramatic fashion to win your championship.
Well, I was just consistent. I consistently caught a 15-pound bag every day. And that's hard to do on a 3-day tournament, fishing the way I was fishing anyway. I know Brandon, he goes for the big bite baits and stuff. You hero or zero with that kind of fishing, but I try to play a little more safer than he does.
Well, I knew Brandon probably wasn't going to win when he didn't have 25 pounds on the first day at Hartwell.
Yeah.
That would have been his style.
Yeah. After day one of Hartwell, when I went to bed day one night, I thought I was winning the championship.
You were in great shape.
I was in good shape. I lost a giant, actually 2 good ones, one real big one. And I was like, dude, this is lining up. And then the next day was terrible. But, that's the swing for the fences deal. Sometimes it pans out. But it was really cool to see. I was able to go back and watch some of the footage later on the ride home and then the following week. And it was cool to watch my buddy win and the way that he won in a scope tournament, old school, just skipping a jig around, boat flipping a 6-pound. Dude, it was cool. Props for that.
Oh, it was a very cool way to win a tournament. The last NPFL event that will ever have live scope. And Scott, you won it without live scope.
Yeah, that's kind of ironic. I'm against the live scope. I don't believe it's got no place in tournament fishing. It's a great thing. Nothing's ever been as good as that thing. But sometimes you have to limit some things. I don't believe it should be in the top of the fishing world.
I'm with you for a variety of reasons, but we don't need to make this a live scope show. I think, you guys are coming into this Smith Lake tournament and you've each won this event in the past. Does that change the way you think about the tournament? You prepare for the tournament?
Well, for me, I'm gonna fish the way I'm gonna fish. I'm gonna fish to win. If you don't win this one, it's 100,000 and it drops way down for second place. So it's pretty much a winner take all. you want the accolades and all that. You want to win it, but everything's got to line up to win it.
Brandon, what about you? Does the fact that you've won it before?
I don't think so. I honestly fish to a fault every tournament like it's the championship. I sat down from year one and was like, back in the day, the old FLW tour and all that, when 50th place paid 10 grand and some of that, you could fish conservatively and pay for the season and be profitable. And then sitting down and looking at this from year one, NPFL was just starting out, just getting established. And I'm like, even the first year, I think it was 50 grand for first. It's like, I'm still swinging for it. And then as it's progressed, it's like, because I guess for me as a local regional angler I'd won the ABA national in like 2009 or something, but that was really the only national deal I'd ever fished. I didn't know I didn't know how I was going to play this. Do you play it safe and try to get checks? And then once I was able to win one on the home pond, I was like, hey, I'm going to try to fish aggressively. And, it's panned out for wins. Not going to win AOY fishing the way that I fish, but I'm not going to treat this tournament any differently. I'm going to fish aggressively. If I get a clue, an idea, something that, hey, you can win doing this, I'm going to do it.
Well, you're right. It's interesting. You kind of are self-effacing about that. You haven't challenged for AOY except your rookie year when you were second. And since then, you kind of been swinging for the fences. You've won a lot more money even than some of the AOYs. But you talk about not winning AOY and swinging for the fences. You barely qualified for this championship. I mean, by the skin of your teeth, you're the last man in. Guess what happened to the last man in who qualified for the 2025 championship?
No doubt. It's got a good mojo to it.
You're right next to him.
You don't know if you get in as long as you're in it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's so cool too, is Scott Hamrick snuck in by the skin of his teeth for the 2025 championship and then knocked it out of the park. So you guys both seem to have a home run attitude about things. And I think that really benefits you, especially in a big tournament like this. Will you go into this tournament having any nerves or jitters or anxiety?
Go ahead, Brandon.
I'll answer. For me, so I normally do not. This one, I'm anticipating it so much. It's been tough for me. I've not even had to sit on the sidelines yet. But in my mind, I've already accepted that I'm going to be on the sidelines in 26, and this is my only tournament. This is my only chance. It's my only shot to fish the 27 championship. And just thinking about it, just ramping up to this moment of like, hey, I'm getting packed up, getting rods rigged is a little bit nerve-wracking because like I don't want this to end. Like I would love, like with all I got, to win this one and be able to go, hey, I've got a tournament to look forward to in 27. So this one's been pretty unique for me, but I'm not going to treat it any differently. But I really do. I don't even know if nerves. I'm anxious. Like I'm ready. I want to go. I'm ready to get going fishing.
Scott, before you answer, I want to let everybody know that Brandon has decided not to re-up and sign up for another year with the NPFL in 2026. We're hoping he comes back in 27 or somewhere down the road, but he's got other obligations in life. And honestly, for a guy who's a top level competitor, Brandon Perkins probably fishes less than anyone I've ever known. Anyway, we hope you come back, and it's not too late. He's still got a month before that season opener on the Harris chain. So I'm lobbying with Brandon Perkins to come back. Now, Scott, what about you? As defending champ, do you come into this Smith Lake tournament keyed up? Is it different somehow?
No, I mean, man, I fished. I had never done the math, but probably an average of 45 to 50 tournaments a year every year. So tournament fishing is just an everyday thing to me. And I mean, I've probably won over 200 tournaments, but the national level, it's different. It's a little different because you're beating the best of the best. I mean, you have to beat the best of the best around here, which where I live at is pretty good stick competition. But yeah,
you've got some of the top pros in the country.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
we were practically your next door neighbors. You could hit them with a crankbait.
I mean, that's five. There's 5 NPFL fishermen live within 10 miles of me.
Yeah,
so there you go. So it's just like you fish a tournament around where I live at. You fish one in the wintertime when they let you fish. They got to where they won't let you fish because you're a pro, they say, whatever. I mean, you fish, you feel like you're fishing the Bassmaster Classic. That's how many good fishermen there are around here. So, but like I say, it don't make me nervous. I mean, it's just another tournament to me. But yeah, I'm gonna swing for the fences. I'm just like Brandon. I want to get that trophy.
And I realize the money is so different, as I think you mentioned earlier, Scott. There's such a big difference between first and second in all the championships, it seems. And you say swing for the fences, and I we hear that phrase a lot. What does it mean on a practical level for both of you guys when you say you're going to swing for the fences, when you're going to go for broke? What does that mean on an actual out there on the water basis?
I don't know what Brandon's going to do. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, no, I will. To me,
Scott, by the way, Brandon, Scott is milking you for information right now.
He is totally. I mean, we're going to talk.
Why do you think I'm staying with him, Kim?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, these guys are rooming together for the championship. So,
no doubt.
And I didn't realize. I thought it was because they were just buddies. I didn't realize it's Hamrick playing this thing for every edge you can get.
I thought we were buddies too, Scott. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, Lineberger's doing the same thing. So
yeah.
Shane Lineberger also sharing, but I think Lineberger's rooming with you guys because he hears Perkins is a good cook.
Yeah, that's right. We'll get some ramen noodles. I hope somebody can grill at least. But as far as just the idea of saying that, it's pretty cliche. People say it all the time. I really live that strategy.
Right.
That's my mindset. And really, to me, it's like getting locked in. It can be detrimental. But if I get a clue, getting some kind of clue in practice as to what, I'm not necessarily looking for the majority of the bass. Like the majority of the bass can be doing one thing, and I'm trying to figure out what the bigger fish are doing. Whether it's, hey, a lot of the bucks are up and the females are coming. I'm trying to intercept them before they get, So it's tough. But
I think.
Go ahead.
Scott, what were you going to say?
Do you have some kind of noise in the background or something? It's like it's making a funny noise. Can you hear me good?
I can hear both you guys well.
Okay, as long as you can hear me, it ain't gonna bother me. I just hear a humming, so I didn't know if it was on y'all's end or my end.
If it's not bothering you too bad, let's just try to go through it. Because
I'm good.
I think we're okay.
So
it's just my brain. It doesn't work that well. Sometimes it gets out of alignment.
I mean, the only different thing that I may do is like, instead of just going out trying to get a quick limit, just making sure I get a limit, because a real limit don't matter. You're not fishing for points. I'm gonna pick up the big baits and go for try to get at least one big. You need one big bite a day, I think, to win this thing. Same way with Hartwell. If you didn't get a big bite every day, you wasn't gonna win.
Well, at Hartwell, you're out there, you're skipping jigs under boat docks, and you're throwing big topwater baits. I'm thinking, okay, this is a man who's looking for 5-6 bites a day, but they'll be the right bites. Is that part of going for broke?
Well, yeah, but you also got the possibility you'll catch 5 that weigh 6 pounds too, because you catch a lot of pound and a half fish. But luckily for me, every day I was getting 1 to 2 big bites every day, and then I got the 6 pounder on the last day, which was the biggest one I caught in 3 days. But I had 4 pounders every day, and then I had 4s and 3s, to get you up a good weight. So.
Yeah, I know that I'm watching the production booth while all this is going on, and I'm watching Scott and hoping Scott can knock this thing out of the park here. And I'm kind of just hoping Scott gets enough bites, of the right quality fish. And that was everybody's story out there. That's what ultimately put Brandon out of the hunt there. Brandon, you're known as a crankbait guy. Big crankbaits get a lot of big bites. Are you gonna? And this is an unfair question because you guys haven't even practiced yet. But are you going to live or die by a big bait, do you think, at Smith?
I really don't know. I intended on kind of joking around and saying, look, I've spent, knowing this is my only tournament, I've spent every weekend and waking second at Smith since the championship, but I've not been over there. I've spent 1 week at Smith Lake in my entire life. Now, it was this same time of year. I can tell you what not to do at Smith to catch big ones, because that's what I did before. I really don't know. I don't have a lot of preconceived notions here on what's going down. I know that it's probably going to take a mixture. I feel like spots are probably easier to catch, probably more plentiful. I feel like you need to catch a big largemouth or 2 per day to have a shot. I really don't know. Odds are I'm not going to be throwing a fakie head in a Ned rig and things like that. I'm probably going to be throwing, some moving stuff, probably going to be throwing some bigger stuff. But I really don't know yet. We'll see.
I look at the weather, and we're still, we're recording this on Friday. The tournament starts next Thursday. Between now and then, there is a roller coaster of weather coming through. We got a cold front that's going to come through on the first day of practice. It might rain. It's going to be cold. Then you have an off day on Wednesday, and a warming trend kicks off. So is there a chance that what you learn in practice will be completely useless by the time the tournament rolls around?
I don't think so. I think this big warm stretch they've had down there the last week and a half, I think it's going to move those fish up. And once they get up, they're not going back. They might not bite as good first couple of days, but that warm trend, they're there. So I think you'll be able to catch them. I think so.
What do you think, Brandon?
I mean, I was disagreeing, but with what he's saying, I do agree. I do think that there's a possibility that, and my mind was going sort of a different direction of, he was thinking about fish moving up, and it has been warmer. I'm thinking somebody could figure out a way to catch 15, 17 pounds of spots in practice when it's cool, when it's cold, and then some of those actually move up a little bit or, whatever. I don't know the lake well enough, but I do think that you could get going down a rabbit hole in practice with a cold front and bluebird skies and just, post-frontal conditions, I guess, and figure something out and it not play when it warms up. But I really don't know.
I've said this on a couple of other roundtables I recorded for this week, and I'd love to get y'all's take on it. I think there's a significant chance that when you guys launch on Thursday for day one, the guy who will ultimately win the tournament has no idea that he's going to even do well.
Yeah, I believe.
I totally agree with that.
I mean, I was in that same boat, kind of horrible. I mean, I got bit in practice, and I knew how to catch fish, but I didn't know what I could catch because, I wasn't trying to catch a bunch. I was trying to shake them off, and I knew all along that the weather was setting up better and better for what I wanted to do. So, but then the last day it rained and it was cloudy, and I didn't know if that was going to really affect them, but it didn't. They stayed put, and I could still catch them. So.
And that would be seems a little bit unusual that it turns cloudy and rainy and you're still getting all those fish under the boat docks. Because I always think
one of the best days I've ever had fishing like that, it was pouring down rain. It does position them there, but a lot of times when they're there, they're not going nowhere. They're going to stay right there. So
if y'all had to pick for each one of you here, the scenario you'd like going into day one weather-wise, what would play to your strengths?
Go ahead, Brandon.
He's making you go first, Brandon.
Yeah, that's fine.
Brandon is making you go first. I'm going to warn you, of all the bass pros I've known through many decades, it is harder to get information out of Brandon Perkins than just about anybody I know.
Well, you can get information from him. It just probably won't be right.
Yeah, it may be semi-accurate.
He's won NPFL tournaments, and I can't even get him to tell me the lure he's throwing.
I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking here. Yeah, Scott, you can go first on this one here. No, I'm just messing. I really, ideally, I'm not a big, I guess, winter fisherman. I'm probably better in that stage between late winter and early spring. And that's probably more my wheelhouse than just, I feel like so many times, especially on a fishery like Smith, I imagine in the wintertime, there's a lot more nomadic bass than there are, resident big largemouth, things like that. So ideally for me, I would prefer it to be 78 degrees every day for the next 7 days.
Gotcha. How about you, Scott? What would you like to see?
Well, I mean, I always have been fished a lot in the winter, but I didn't this winter because they won't hardly let you fish nothing around here. So I did jump in the BFL last Saturday and I had 4 fish. So what's that tell you? I mean, I had my opportunities, not to win, but to be way up there. I had one real big one, but it's just my ideal thing would be sunny and mid 70s every day. But that's this week. So next week it ain't gonna be like that. Next week it's probably gonna be cloudy in the tournament, maybe a chance of rain. So you're probably gonna have to adjust a little bit, but that wouldn't. But you never know.
the fact that you caught 4 close to home there tells me you're overdue going to the championship week.
Well, the problem with here is it was bad conditions. I mean, I was fishing places I knew they are always at. I'd fish and I'd make numerous casts, would not get a bite, and I'd go up there on the trolling motor and there'd be 20 pounds swimming around. I just couldn't get them to bite. I mean, and then I did get a couple of them to bite, and they just didn't get hooked up. But other than that, I mean, I had 10.5 pounds. So,
Brandon, you've done remarkably well in the NPFL events that have been slugfests, where it seems like guys are racking up the good weights. You're just racking up better weights. They're catching 20 pounds. You're catching 22. Are those the kind of tournaments you prefer, the slugfests?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy catching them, like, and big ones, and typically target those. I mean, I don't know. I just think back over the years, like, you're right. I mean, Amistad was a slugfest. I mean, I think about day one, I had 29 something with a 9 pound, and I got a 2 pound lead after day one, and I was like, what's happening here? But and even the second Pickwick when I won, like, I mean, I caught some bags. I had 224 bags in that deal, and still, I mean, I had a good margin of victory, but still people caught them. I mean, 20 bags.
People were catching good bags. You were just, it was like you were fishing a better lake than they were fishing.
Yeah, I'm a little, but that one was at home. But like, and then I think back, I'm like, dude, I don't mind a grinder, but I think back at the tournaments, like Scott talked about last year at Norman, I completely crapped the bed in that one. And it was a tournament where my kids could catch a limit at that fishery. Like, my kids could catch a limit in April at Norman, and I did not one day because I went for broke. But I mean, I don't mind a slower slugfest, and I don't feel like this time of year it's going to be and at this fishery it's going to be. I feel like it's going to be that. So I'm going to hype myself up on, hey, I can hang in a non-slugfest too.
Well, no question. And Scott, you won what I would call a grinder tournament at Hartwell. Do you prefer a grinder?
Yeah, I probably would. I mean, the slugfest, everybody's going to catch them. I'd rather be where you really got to work to catch them. That's where I'd rather be. Funny story about Norman, Hackney, he won it. So I was on good on a shad spawn the first day. I caught him decent. I was up pretty high the first day, and then it just shut off. I thought it was going to get better every day, and it never did. And then Hackney goes and he wins the thing in my code that I got where I live at. So I'm 20 miles away fishing for something that ain't there, and he's in my code winning the tournament. So
ouch.
Yeah.
That's almost insulting.
It really is, but he probably needed to win more than I did.
Oh yeah. He's got giving him a little name recognition now.
Right.
He's been hidden for so long.
Yeah, he's got to build his resume up too.
That's right. He's got to buy more hunting property.
Yeah.
That's what he's got to do. Well, so there's not much in it for you guys except to win again. I love that you're going to go for that win and you're not afraid to have a terrible day. Have you ever gone for broke, lost, had a bad finish and stuff like that, and regretted that you fished it that way? Regretted that you didn't play a little more conservative? Brandon Perkins is nodding yes.
I'm nodding yes. I mean, I just think back. There's been some things definitely I would change. Sometimes where I would have gotten a check if I had not been hard-headed and so locked in. I think back year one. You said it earlier. I came in second in AOY, and I won Angler of the Year 10 minutes into the day on the last day, on the final day. I caught the bass to win AOY. But I pushed it to the end of the day because I wasn't worried about just one shield. I had a chance to win that tournament too. And I had a shift actuator go out on the way in, and I broke down and didn't make it to the weigh in. So that was one time where totally I wish I had not been as risky and said, hey, I'll take one gold shield and give Taylor Watkins this other one. So, yeah, there's definitely been times where I wish I had. And this tournament to me, just talking about strategically what it looks like, I think there's a chance that you can have one of those struggle days in this one and still win. I really do, weight-wise. Like, I feel like you can have a day where you weigh in 3 bass and still win this tournament.
What about you, Scott? You ever had a
Well,
deal
I
where
don't,
you?
I don't think there's going to be no 3 bass in this one. I think that place is full of fish. I think everybody's going to get a limit. Me saying that, I probably won't get a limit.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna catch 3 for sure now.
Scott's decided to jinx himself already.
So you listen what he's telling. Listen what he's telling you, Ken. He had a boat breakdown on him, so he didn't make it back to win the Angle of the Year, which he should have won. Okay, well last year, the last tournament, what happened, Brad? He had a dead fish, cost him the win. So that's two wins right there. So you see why I'm staying with this man, because he knows what he's doing. So
he's beyond good. And you know what? The only way he even qualifies for this championship is if he finishes first or second. Third place, you'd be looking for another roommate, Scott.
Yeah, that was nuts. I knew I had to finish really, really strong, kind of out of this world in the last 2 tournaments last year, and I did well at St. Lawrence. And I was like, I still didn't look at the points. I'm out of it in my mind. There's no chance, so I'm going for broke at Logan Martin. And I'll never forget you walking up and saying, dude, I really think that you're in by my calculations. I'm like, there is no way, because I thought I had to win the tournament to get in the championship. So pretty wild.
Well, at the top and at the cut line, it was so crazy close.
Mm-hmm.
I was right on the cut line. I mean, I was sick at one tournament and it just did so bad. I had to catch up for that all year, and finally got there. And going into the last day at Logan Martin, I was in. I mean, I was in 20th place. I was in, and so I just didn't catch him. I mean, I only caught like 9 pounds something, and then Brandon comes in, he jumps everybody. So things work out. But then it worked out. I was upset, but we go to the championship, won the championship, and got in anyway. So things happen for a reason. So there you go.
Scott Hamrick removes all doubt about qualifying for the next championship. He just wins the thing.
I mean, that's the only way I was getting.
Yeah, that's a pretty good game plan there.
Yeah.
Well, and the year before, Scott, you had a tough tournament to end the season on not your home lake, but a lake that you fished quite a bit at Murray, and you didn't have a great finish there. I think you were like 50th, but you were comfortably in before that, and then got yourself in. You win the championship.
Well, I wouldn't say I was comfortably in. I knew I needed to finish. I knew I did good enough to get in.
Yeah.
Murray's not really my. It's not really my wheelhouse too much. The way I like to fish, Murray sets up for that for like maybe a month out of the year. Once in the fall and then once in the spring. It just, you have to fish Murray a little bit different. And so with that scoping, it was going to be hard to hang with them boys at Murray.
Gotcha. Well, now, speaking of Murray, and a common denominator with Smith Lake is the herring. Do you guys like herring lakes?
I don't really, not particularly, but it is what it is. I mean, I don't think it's going to make any difference how I'm going to fish. I mean, there's herring in Hartwell. Same thing. So
herring, Lanier, a lot of herring getting everywhere.
Yeah. Oh God. They say there's some in Norman now. I hadn't noticed it, but like I said, I hadn't been fishing Norman a whole lot in the last couple of years because I've been out on the road fishing this stuff.
All right. I want to wind it down here, but I do want to ask you this. We don't have any idea really right now what it might take to win. And I know it's an unfair question because of the uncertainty of the weather, but it's a 15-inch size limit out there. This is a legendary spotted bass lake. There are plenty of spots. There are also some largemouths, and might need to have a mix to win. If I could give you guys 50 pounds today for that tournament, would you take it? Or would you say, no, I gotta go launch and fish?
Oh, but I'd take 50 pounds and not even go.
Take it.
I think it's gonna take about 13 pounds a day. So that's 20,
whoa, less than 40.
29, 30. That's going right at 40. It's going to take right at 40, I think. And that's what I think. Now, I may be wrong. Brandon probably knows more than I do.
I've not spent a ton of time there. I do think 45 is a good number. I probably wouldn't even feel crazy safe with 45. I was thinking that it would take 48 pounds to win this tournament. I think just looking at the field, how good these guys are, and I feel like that's a realistic deal. And that's just, I think there's going to be a ton of the 9-pound stuff, but we will have a few, I think, that separate themselves. And I think, 45 is a good 3 days.
I'd take 45 and not go to.
Wow, take 45. Okay. All right. Well, this is my last question. This is not meant as a shot toward championship tournaments at all. But the one thing I've always noticed, or always think about when I think about a championship tournament, is the field is smaller, a lot smaller, and maybe that allows you to have less crowds in places where you'd like to be. Is that a great thing going in? Because your field is in a lot of ways less challenging than you would face in a regular season event.
Go ahead, Brandon.
No, so to me,
Maybe the pressure is greater.
I am excited about it being a smaller field. Smith's huge. I mean, it's big, but I do think that there'll be some times where it fishes a little smaller, maybe depending on water clarity, things like that. But to me, my mind's funky on this because I really do think that for the most part, if you've got a field of 125 anglers in this trail, whatever trail, I don't think there's 125 dudes that are going to win a tournament or a threat to win. So I think that these 42 are probably the same of 42 plus a few elsewhere that would typically win a tournament, in my opinion. And not knocking the guys that didn't make it because I'm almost a guy that didn't make it. But to me, in order to win, you've either got to be elite, like an elite bass fisherman, or somebody that is like me, that's not an elite bass fisherman, but I will fish aggressively enough to put myself in a good spot every now and then. And not knocking our field. It takes a different mentality or a lot of crazy luck to win an event, especially a national level with this kind of competition. And I'm just crazy enough to win one every now and then. But I don't know. That sounded, I guess, came off a little mean. I feel like you have to fish a certain way in order to win a tournament or be Patrick Walters and put yourself in contention every single time. And this field of 42, it would be tougher to win this tournament, or as tough as to win just a regular season event, because you got a bunch of closers and a bunch of the dudes that win anyway.
I agree totally. I think people say, well, it's only a 42 boat tournament. I mean, it's just as tough as winning the 100 and something boat tournament, because the ones you're beating are the same guys you got to beat. That's the ones you got to beat, and that's who's in these tournaments. It's a good. Only good thing about it is you just don't have so many people in certain areas that you want to go to. It's going to be in your way. So, like a Hartwell. I mean, if that had been 100 and something boats, I'm sure there'd have been people fishing around me, and it might have cost me fishing like I wanted to fish. So that's a big difference.
Yeah, I feel almost bad for saying what I said, and I'm almost the guy that is not in this event for being so reckless out there that I don't make it. And I think back, like my travel partners didn't make it to this one. Timmy Reams, Dan Blackett. Well, Timmy's as good as there is out there. Like, he's a hammer, and he just had a down year. So I don't mean that. These 42 guys in this field are dudes that you would have to worry about whether you were fishing Amistad or Smith or Pickwick or wherever. And it's a tough field. I think it's just as difficult to win this one as a regular season event. And I meant no offense, and I hope none was taken.
I don't think you have to worry about that. And I think you guys both answered that one really well. And I think it's a great point. It's a small field, but it's exactly the guys who were the best in the league last year.
Well, I'll tell you a little story. I'll tell you, we live around here. All the guys around here, there's hammers who live around here. Hank lives right up the street.
Hank Cherry, Shane Liu.
And then
Matt
so we all get together and everybody talks trash. Well, Hank's up there. He done won the Bassmaster Classic, two in a row, And so one guy,
and he's won on Smith. He won an Open on Smith.
Yeah, and so he one of the guys tells us, I don't know what you're talking about, man. All you did was win a 40-boat club tournament. That's what he told us.
I like that.
Derby.
I was curious, not because I expected you to take a shot at anybody. This is not a shot at anybody. It's just that it is a smaller field, and that maybe makes the lake fish a little bigger. To Scott's point, maybe you don't have 3 other boats in the pocket you want to fish, that kind of thing. And I think that makes it maybe a more comfortable event. And Brandon Perkins, you are an elite angler. You just don't have an elite amount of time to devote to it. And Scott Hamrick, you are a hammer. That's why the first 3 letters of your name are HAM. And if you go back to back here, I don't think anybody's going to be surprised. They may be pissed off, but they won't be surprised.
Oh, there'll be somebody say some reason I went back to back. I got lucky. Something. It's always
I'll
something.
take it. I'll take some lucky. They can say whatever
Yeah, that's
they
right.
want.
They can say what they want to say.
If you go back to back, it'll be because you caught them and you deserved it. I think it's going to be a really cool tournament. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about what that mix between largemouth and spot's going to be. I'm excited about how that 15-inch size limit's going to play. I'm excited about to see who can go out there and catch a big largemouth.
Oh, there's a 15-inch size limit. Oh, I forgot about that, Brandon. Brandon, I don't know if we're going to get a limit, bud.
Oh, no. Hey, so I stunk it up the last time I was there, and I had a limit of spotted bass in about 7 minutes. And they weighed about 8 pounds, but they were puny 15-inchers. But
I got you beat. I got you beat, bud. I fished the super tournament at Hartwell, the one I won on. Been about 3 years ago. I was trying to qualify for regional, so I fished them all. So I fished the one at Norman in the springtime when I had. Now check us out. I called to get to this. I had 5 spotted bass that weighed 4.6.
And you culled.
And I
That's
culled.
bag.
And, all the guys, they rag me. Oh, look at them little fish. And they followed me up there videoing. And so when they did, I just went up there and I held them out up on stage. And, yep, just like that. And this is that. I can dish it out, but I can take it. So,
no doubt.
I love that y'all are willing to tell stories about yourself. That's really, really a sign of, well, A, it's a sign of somebody I enjoy hanging out with, and B, you guys have been great champions. All the luck in the world going to Smith next week. I hope things play out well for you. One thing I know is that tournament won't be over until each of you guys weigh in, and you'd be a great champion again. Well, so thanks for your time on Roundtable.
We'll see you down there. I'll see you, Brandon. We'll have to go to the grocery store when we get there, bud.
So no doubt. We'll go shopping. I look forward to seeing y'all. See you in a few days.
We'll take care, gentlemen.
Right.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it.
And folks, that's it for Roundtable with Scott Hamrick, Brandon Perkins. These guys are threats. Hey, that's it for this edition of Roundtable. I want to thank everybody for joining us and for supporting the National Professional Fishing League. Our championship on Lewis Smith Lake in Alabama begins Thursday, February 26th. Live weigh-ins will be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Central Time, and that is where Big Al McCulloch is going to bring you the boom, the best stage show in the business. Come on out to the weigh-ins at Smith Lake Park in Cullman, Alabama. Meet the pros, get some autographs, talk fishing, say hello to me. I'll be out there. And the live coverage from the tournament, the on-the-water stuff, the cameras in the boats, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time. And that is where you're going to hear the analysis and the insight and the humor and all the good stuff from Luke Duncan and Fat Cat Newton. They are the best. My name is Ken Duke, and the next edition of Roundtable will be March 15th, leading into the 2026 regular season. And the opener is going to be on the Harris Chain of Lakes in Central Florida out of Leesburg. I will catch you then.